the tag team ladder match between the Hardys, that very first one that paved the way for TLC between the Hardys, the Dudleys, and Edge and Christian. My second favorite match of that, and it wasn't that. It was Chris Jericho, Kurt Angle, and Chris Benoit. That was the match because there was two falls. The one fall was to decide the Intercontinental title champion and the European champion. And then what was the best part about that was the champion didn't have to get pinned in that. So Angle got screwed. Okay, while that's loading up, we hear the comments from the comments section. This comment is from Kevin Nascata. Ugh, can't we do Seth versus Brock? No one wants Roman or Lashley. A counter comment. Actually, I'm all for Lashley and Lesnar. Love it. By Deadman Inc. on July 23rd at 1:07 a.m. The only reason I wanted to see Lashley back was so he could be the one to conquer Brock Lesnar. Laugh out loud. Pissed off Ascension guy says agreed. Bring that bleep on. WWE since WrestleMania 3 commented, some of us want Reigns to dethrone Brock and go full heel. In fact, I think even the Roman detractors would be okay with it as long as he went full heel. You know what? I'm telling you. Braun Strowman's going to cash in on Roman Reigns. If that happens, he would get so pissed being so close or having the title and then to lose it on a cash in. Because if you remember, WrestleMania 31, Seth Rollins cashed in on Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. And we would have never known if Roman Reigns, well, we knew years later at this year's WrestleMania, but still. Then, a year later, Seth Rollins, he was stripped of the title due to injury, so they had a tournament, and the finals was at Survivor Series, and Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose were the finalists. So, Roman Reigns wins the match, right, and the title, only for Sheamus to cash in on him with the help of Triple H. So now, bet me, Roman Reigns will be the victim of another cash-in. And it won't go as sour it won't go south like it did when Baron Corbin was the Money in the Bank winner. Though John Cena sort of ruined it. Yeah, Immortal commented, the titles should defend them in all three brands. Bigger782 says, personally, I like to see them go to all titles and have them defended cross-brand. I cut back to one tag title, one women's title, and one men's title. What do you think? Well, there's one. The roster is too big for one champion, for each division. Another one, ditto, agreed. One person agreed with that. Ditto for that. This, what I would like to see, have the Intercontinental title and the U.S. title be the brand titles and make the other titles bigger than any brand. There's this idea that there's a match or feud is meaningless. If there isn't a title at stake, I disagree. I think that having fewer titles makes the ones that exist more important. Cody Sned says no. Maybe not that far, but I'd be happy to drop the Universal title. I was going to say the second tag ones too, but come to think of it, that has given a lot of benefit to the tag scene than the old one, feud only style. Kimrell says, I prefer the current setup, but like the idea of the cross-brand championship, which could be a small thing, for the whole brand to work towards like a little Survivor Series, where it's points of pride to win. Then each pay-per-view required the other brand to put forth a challenger. Could even hold a stipulation that whoever holds a draft shake-up can choose their brand. An easy way for a face to claim at home, or for a heel to extort the GM. Here's a comment from Rob 52570. I would have the Universal title defended across brands. But the question that becomes, so do you add a Raw Heavyweight title? You can't eliminate the WWE title. I suppose you could defend the Universal Heavyweight and one of the Intercontinental US titles across both brands and push the other as a top title as one of the brands. You know what, though? Watching my WrestleMania DVDs, the anthology, and during the time in 2002 where there was a hardcore title, the Intercontinental title, the U.S. title, and the European title, that was a problem with, if you did that, you got to look at the roster. Now, if you somehow maybe combined NXT and Raw, and maybe if you combined or 205 Live and NXT champion, put him in a triple threat against AJ Styles and whoever is the Universal Champion. How about that? And same thing for the women's champion versus women's champion versus women's champion. So let's see, who is the Shayna Baszler? Have her take on Carmella and Alexa Bliss or Ronda Rousey, whoever comes out at SummerSlam. I know it's a multi-person match, but heck, you're probably going to end up having multi-man matches anyway. Same thing for the tag team division. Have like the B team or Deleters of Worlds versus the Bludgeon Brothers versus the Undisputed Era. And then Cruiserweight Champion versus Intercontinental title versus Champion versus United States Champion. Now that would be cool. Cedric Alexander versus Dolph Ziggler versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Now that would be a Survivor Series right there. So yeah, that was, I think, back in the day when they did have the European title and the hardcore title at the time. That was the thing. When the old WCW guys were in WWE for like a cup of coffee. That was the thing. He had too many belts, but to just they didn't know what to they didn't know what to do with those other WCW wrestlers. Because let's see, you pretty had a decent tag team division. You had Chronic in there. What was it Sean O'Hare and Chuck Palumbo? You could have kept them as a tag team. As it is right now, the Raw tag team division is like in serious jeopardy, dude. Now for Impact Wrestling, they got LAX, the new LAX versus the OGC in Hernandez and Homicide and Eddie Kingston. You got them. They know what they're doing, but as far as WWE goes with their tag team division, I don't know. They just torpedoed. I think ever since, this is not a knock against Braun Strowman, but ever since he won the Raw tag team titles with that Nicholas guy at this year's WrestleMania, I think he single-handedly torpedoed the Raw tag team division. I mean, it's nothing against the other tag teams in Rhino and Keith Slater and the B team and Titus Worldwide and the Bar and what is it? And now who's left? The Authors of Pain and the Revival. So no offense. So and if it is the case, if that's the case with the announcement of a women's tag team division, just so you know, WWE, I think you tried that in 1988. Jimmy Hart was the manager of the tag team champions at that very first inaugural Royal Rumble, where Jim Duggan was the winner of that battle royal, though he never got a title shot. Just so you know, and you didn't really run with it the first time. So why bring the women's tag division now when it didn't really, you never really bothered with it to begin with? Just like if the fans are bitching about the cruiserweight division now, you should have seen the light heavyweight division 20 years ago. I looked at that title match between Taku Michinoku versus Aguila, and the fans, they just fell asleep, man. And that was the start